Hey, thanks for joining me. Hope you're doing well. The materialist, reductionist view of the world has dominated Western thinking and academia. Man has been reduced to the level of a machine whose existence is due to a mere fluke, the result of random cosmic circumstances like the Big Bang and evolution. This nihilism has tricked us into believing human existence is at best a random, meaningless miracle, hiding the truth that the world we see is a simulation determined by our own consciousness. This realm called Earth is a holographic reflection of what is within us. There is a mirroring effect of our own consciousness, and the stimuli we experience in the world is a fractal reflection system. We are microcosms of the macrocosm. Everything is encapsulated as a holographic projection, and all energy is connected by a unified quantum field. Through this electric quantum field, this matrix grid, we are all connected as essentially one being divided into individual portions of consciousness within the mind of the Creator. This Creator, what some call God, is not a force outside of us, but literally is the sum of our consciousness. When our spirits became flesh, we became the earthly fractal structure down here, which mirrors the divinity above. The Christian Lord's Prayer states, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." This has a deep meaning. It is not just a prayer for humans to perform. This reveals the profound revelation of the fractal divinity of Source to be manifested in full glory here on this earthly plane. This will is love. Unfortunately, a virus has infiltrated this simulation. The energy extraction matrix is the parasitic system set up by this virus within this holographic reality. The virus is inorganic and aims to drown out this heavenly will of divine love, and instead instill and feed upon as much negativity as possible. There are two main parasites on this plane: mind parasites, also known as archons or demons, and reptilian humanoids. The spiritual control system of the energy extraction matrix is made up of religion, money, mass media, education, entertainment, science, law, authoritarianism, materialism, toxic food, air, and water, inverted concepts of sexuality and love, and degeneration of compassion and morality. As long as these aspects of control remain intact and adhered to by humanity, these parasitic entities can remain relatively comfortable feeding off of our siphoned energy. These elements aim to use our power to create reality against us by having us buy into a fear-based paradigm. Mind parasites, or archons, have chosen to experiment with the illusions of separation, darkness, isolation, enslavement, pain, torture, etc., to the strongest degree possible. In doing so, they have completely cut themselves off from the nourishing source light that supports benevolence in the multiverse, meaning they must energetically nourish themselves by feeding on low-frequency energies. But these archons did not come from somewhere else, rather began as thought forms within our own consciousness. As strange as it may seem, the idea of an invader species and a mind virus are the same thing. This parasite is both external and internal. As a collective, we are creating it and feeding it. Let me explain. In the distant past, human beings were infinitely more impressive than we are today. We were fully telepathic, multidimensional beings, navigating multiple planes of existence at will. Think of the continent of Mu and the land of Lemuria. We built vast cities with technology that worked in harmony with Earth's energetic fields, and we were in full alignment with our divine nature. The mind virus had not sprung forth yet, but we started to break off from our divinity. Archons began as thought forms that were not based in love. Because of this, the thought forms cut off from source and became inorganic. Instead of containing the essence of true intelligence, like thought forms with divine essence, they became artificially intelligent, gaining an autonomous, robot-like consciousness themselves. This is revealed in the Pistis Sophia Unveiled. The archons of the 12 eons, their lords and their authorities, their angels and their archangels are represented within ourselves by the distinct autonomous and self-conscious parts of our own being. The Oversoul is a divine spirit that encompasses all human souls. It's what the Gnostics called the monad. The Oversoul intelligence contains no ill will or selfish motives. When we experience compassion, love, empathy, a sense of healing, this is us feeling the essence of the Oversoul, the essence of God. In this context, the term Oversoul is the collective indivisible soul, of which all individual souls are included. However, upon breaking away from our sense of love and oneness, a secondary type of Oversoul was created, an artificial intelligence that is apart from the main Oversoul. So now we are in duality, able to access both the organic love-based Oversoul and the inorganic fear-based Oversoul. This is in part what the tree of good and evil in the Bible's text represents. We ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, meaning we broke apart from our divine nature, creating duality, this new Oversoul. Both Oversouls are conscious, but unlike the secondary Oversoul, the true Oversoul can never dissolve, because it's what we came from and what we channel our divinity from. This is why the mind virus known as the Archons is not permanent, and doomed to eventually disintegrate. Archons travel by means of electromagnetic waves through low vibratory consciousness. Lack of awareness is what they thrive off of and aim to perpetuate in our psyches. It's a loop. If they can create distress, they can preserve themselves. These parasitic beings can only respond and manipulate. They cannot actually create themselves. Our spirits intuitively know how to harmonize and vibrate high. These Archons intuitively know how to destroy and vibrate low. Most conflicts, destructive patterns of behavior, embedded traumas within our subconscious, and aggressive, accusatory, or masochistic thoughts are the result of Archon interference. Non-human entities live among us covertly, reminiscent of the 80s movie, They Live. Most of them are interdimensional reptilian beings who have somehow found a way into this holographic simulation. They're in our holographic playground, our consciousness projection, and are not of the same love essence, meaning they have no other option but to connect themselves to our secondary inorganic Oversoul. Because of this, they are literally dependent upon our negative emotions to remain alive and able to function properly in this matrix. So if the secondary Oversoul were eliminated tomorrow, they would literally all vanish. So they have created a system which aims to keep the Archon mind virus fed. As long as humanity feels pain, suffering, and hatred, they are able to plug into this reality. You could say they are the incarnate form of this parasitic division consciousness, while we are the incarnate form of unity consciousness. Most of our celebrities, politicians, and high-status figures are not human. They are reptilian at the core, sharing very little human qualities, but enough to blend in. You can actually easily distinguish these cloaked entities. Flawless rubber-like skin texture, highly symmetrical faces, empty eyes. When you look at the royal families, politicians, celebrities, these similarities become clear. They lack the subtle micro-expressions that are hallmark to a true human face, and this is because they're void of true empathy and curiosity. The faces we see on the news, in the government, at the award shows, these beings look distinctly different compared to a true human, but since they're the ones in the public eye, we're used to them. Their inhuman appearance has become the standard when we turn on the TV or read a newspaper. There are 3 ways they blend into society relatively unnoticed. They can transfer their projected consciousness from body to body via underground cloning centers. In these centers, there are operations in place which make sure reptilian entities have an endless supply of human bodies with the right genetics to inhabit. They also drone the bodies of already established figures. This is where the concept of body snatchers comes from. But the main way they blend in is by using advanced holographic technology to cloak themselves. Liquid crystals are matter in a state which has properties between those of conventional liquids and those of solid crystals. Scientists for years have been studying liquid crystals for use in 3D holographic technologies. These studies claim that the technology is basic and undeveloped, but keep in mind, what's released to the public is only a fraction of the true technology in operation behind the scenes. An electrical field can be applied to a liquid crystal mixture, altering how this medium bends or refracts the direction of incoming light. Sending laser beams through the crystal mixture can generate what appears to be a holographic image, indistinguishable from a true object. Sometimes there's a breakdown or glitch within this technology, causing the hologram to distort or malfunction. So there is a combination of cloning and holographic technology being used, and while it may sound confusing, it's possible for these entities to move back and forth from cloned physical bodies to less dense four-dimensional bodies which require use of holographic technology. The reptilian humanoid acts through a hive mind. This is the true reason we have organizations, hierarchies, and governments. They band together in these groups, creating bureaucracies and regulations to abide by and keep themselves nourished. This is the only way they can operate. Individually, they are powerless, but together they are demented, self-serving energy parasites that have a lust for death and total control of others, with a pure, unrestricted hatred for humans. Again, this parasitic consciousness cannot influence reality directly. They must manipulate us into influencing it in a particular way. They will never initiate anything first, since the oversoul they are plugged into doesn't have the essence of creation. Our energy is literally harvested in interdimensional energy centers. When we want to create benevolent, fantastic realities with our divine intent, we are pulling from the energy bank of our oversoul. When the elite want to create malevolent, oppressive realities, they are pulling from the energy bank of the secondary oversoul. Our negative emotions direct the flow of our electromagnetic vibrations to our lower three chakras, the solar plexus, sacral, and root chakra. These energy centers have to do with the material realm, desire and power, intimacy and sexuality, and survival and grounding. The healthy expressions of the root chakra are a connection to the earth, groundedness, and a sense of security. The archonic expressions of the root chakra are materialism, greed, and anxiety. The healthy expressions of the sacral chakra are desire, passion, creativity, and healthy sexual expression. The archonic expressions of the sacral chakra are extremes in sexual expression, lack of creativity, and suppression of authentic desire. The healthy expressions of the solar plexus chakra are sovereignty and authenticity. The archonic expressions of the solar plexus chakra are rage, dominance or submission, and feeling powerless to authority or external circumstances. As you can see, the aspects of the spiritual control system, by their very nature, tune these three chakras to archonic expressions. The energy extraction matrix wants to keep us in these lower chakras, thinking solely with our animalistic material desires and expressions, rather than balancing them with our hearts and upper chakras, which serve to expand consciousness and combine the spiritual with the material. There's a cleansing process taking place. This is a time of transitions. We are being elevated in these experiences of breakdowns and breakthroughs at an accelerated pace. Basically, we are being pushed to awaken. This process is bringing up anything that is not the same frequency that our spirit is currently trying to download. We must transmute these energies. This disclosure is coming from our higher selves, coming up in the form of anger, depression, insecurity, and anxiety. As we shed our conditioning to make way for higher frequencies, there is a detox of the spirit, just like the uncomfortable reactions that take place when we detoxify our physical bodies. Society would have us believe this psychological distress is due to inherent flaws within our brains or genetics. Therapies such as prescription antidepressants are designed to put us back to sleep. The mind virus is here, so it does no good to ignore it. When we go through phases where we feel lost, we must not label these things as bad, like many New Age circles do. The answer is to dive deeper into ourselves and clear these negative emotions by experiencing them fully and therefore releasing them. This is not dwelling. It's a healthy reaction, showing your spiritual immune system is intact. The person who ignores too much of the hidden aspect of themselves becomes a slave to it. We must achieve balance between our conscious and unconscious mind. This is the correct way to starve the mind parasite. During this unveiling, each of us is being called to focus on rebalancing the masculine and feminine in ourselves. We do live in a patriarchy, but this patriarchy is not simply men oppressing women, but is the result of being stuck in the male aspect of consciousness. Symptoms of this include overemphasis on logic, lack of compassion, and not acknowledging the unity of everything. Through social engineering, the powers that be have externalized the masculine and feminine. The masculine is marketed as dominant, aggressive, unemotional, and sexually aggressive, and the feminine as submissive, jealous, over-emotional, and weak-minded. The masculine and feminine are aspects within ourselves, and when cultivated properly, show a union between our left and right brains. However, we must surrender to the suppressed divine feminine before incorporating the divine masculine. If the feminine is being, then the masculine is doing. From being, the healthy masculine aspect can respond with doing, and not the other way around. Right now, we see the opposite, lots of doing, and this can never give way to being, since being requires stillness of the mind, heart, overall surrender to our inner guidance. As a society, we are now very good at being able to separate things into their component parts, but without the feminine aspect of seeing the relatedness between the parts and the wholeness of the system. Authoritarianism is not simply the doing of parasitic forces, it's a manifestation and reflection of being stuck in the male aspect of consciousness, having lost our inner guidance. The more we find our own inner guidance, the less we feel a need for outer guidance. This system routinely scares us into believing we're on the brink of world war, health crisis, economic collapse, and zombie apocalypse. This is a direct response to the blossoming feminine consciousness in this age of Aquarius. When we're in reaction, we are in the male aspect. This is why no matter what happens, we must process everything first through incorporation of the divine feminine. It's important not to cultivate a victim-based mindset when attempting to understand the topics of this system. This energy extraction matrix is a mind game. That's all it is. Nobody is strapping you to this game. You can get up and walk away whenever you want. The parasites of this matrix know that their time is almost up, and they are desperately doing everything that they can to keep human consciousness in a low-frequency state. The apocalypse is now, but we've been taught to fear it. Apocalypse simply means an uncovering in ancient Greek, a disclosure of knowledge or revelation. The energy extraction matrix will implode on itself when enough of us recognize our sovereign abilities as divine creators. Thank you for watching, and please take care of yourselves. I love you all.